Hello everyone, Storm here, and today I am back bringing you guys What If Yamcha Was a Saiyan? This is the third part of this series, so make sure you've watched the first two, which will be linked in the description and comments. But with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the third part now. So Future Trunks has just prepared himself to go back in time in order to save his timeline. But this Future Trunks is a bit different. Trunks, in canon, was 17 years old when he went back in time, but here, our Trunks was born around the same time as Gohan, so he'd be a little over 10 years older. But with that, he goes back in time to a few hours before Goku returns to Earth from Yardrat. Future Trunks powers up, making all the Z-Fighters sense his energy and head to his location. Trunks would feel kind of weird seeing his father Yamcha and his younger self, as well as a younger version of Gohan. He knows he's going to end up revealing the truth about him somehow if he stays, so he ends up just telling Yamcha about the androids and gives him the heart medicine and tells him to give it to Goku when he returns. He then hugs his father, which is kind of weird for Yamcha as he isn't sure who this guy is, but Trunks plays it off like he was thanking him for helping. This is kind of like the scene from Endgame where Tony goes back in time and hugs his father but has to play it off as like something else because he can't reveal that he's his son. Though I do think Yamcha would kind of suspect it's Trunks, given the similarities between them. But anyway, Trunks goes back to his own timeline, and our gang is left waiting for Goku. He arrives, and Yamcha tells him everything, as well as giving him the heart virus medicine. The gang decides to train, but this time Yamcha and present Trunks join Piccolo, Gohan, and Goku. As for everyone else, their training ends up the same way it did as in canon. Also, Bulma and Yamcha would have their second child, Bra, during this time. By the end of the 3 years, Goku, Gohan, Yamcha, and Piccolo are all far stronger than they were in the original story. Yamcha is able to unlock Super Saiyan due to the training of so many other partners, which boosts all of their gains as well. This allows Gohan and Trunks to also have Super Saiyan by the time the androids arrive, since they're both being trained, again, by other Super Saiyans, as well as Piccolo. And so the Z-Fighters reconvene at a city and go after the androids, where they find 19 and 20. Goku and Yamcha agree to fight them, but Goku is slowly succumbing to the heart virus. Because of this, Gohan takes his father home, and Trunks steps in his place. So we'd see Trunks using Super Saiyan, while Yamcha uses the Wrathful form to fight 19 and 20. The father and son are able to easily dismantle 19, forcing Gero to escape. When Vegeta arrives, he allows Gero to go to his lab and awaken the other androids, since he wants to beat them himself. Yamcha finds out Vegeta is planning to do this, so he attacks him, and the two fight using Super Saiyan. They are a pretty even match, and I'd honestly even give Yamcha the edge here. But either way, Gero releases the other androids, who kill him. Future Trunks also arrives, seeing Yamcha and Vegeta fighting while the androids go free. He becomes furious and yells at the two to stop fighting and help defeat the androids. They agree, and Vegeta opts to fight Android 18 alone. They have a similar fight to the canon version, but when Vegeta gets his arm broken, Future Trunks charges in to attack. Only this Trunks is far stronger than the original one, so he is able to fight 18 pretty well. Yamcha, present Trunks, Piccolo, and the others decide to jump in and try to help win, so 17 fights them off. However, the two androids are kind of overwhelmed here. They're fighting 4 Super Saiyans, an insanely powerful Piccolo, as well as Tenshinhan. This fight isn't going to be in the favor of the androids. Luckily for them, Android 16 doesn't want his friends to perish, so he helps them fight off the Z-Fighters. The three together are enough to beat up the gang and leave them battered. After that, they decide to reconvene with Goku and learn of the time chamber. Only this time, Yamcha and Future Trunks are going to be the ones to go in first. Vegeta has pretty much no connection to Trunks here, so there's no reason to make him go in if they can have other people go in instead. Plus, Vegeta isn't exactly the most trustworthy person right now, as he literally let the androids get free, so... But while Yamcha and Future Trunks train, Piccolo goes out to fight the androids after fusing with Kami and finding out about Cell. Piccolo and 17 have a battle, but Piccolo has a big advantage due to his large strength gains over the years. This forces Android 18 to step in instead, so Piccolo has a harder time against the two. He's still got the advantage at first, but both androids whittle away his energy over time, which allows Cell to show up and try to absorb the androids. Cell is able to absorb 17, which gives him a massive boost in power. With that power, he easily beats up 16 and present Trunks. Tenshinhan attempts to stop him by using the Neo Tri-Beam, which does about as well as it did in canon, maybe even a little worse considering that we said Tenshinhan would be weaker in the Saiyan arc. But luckily, Yamcha and Future Trunks arrived on the scene to handle Cell. Yamcha goes to make sure all of his friends are alright, so he lets future Trunks fight Cell while he's doing that. Because this Trunks is much older and he actually trained with Yamcha in the time chamber, he'd be far more powerful than his canon counterpart. So future Trunks is able to use Super Saiyan Grade 2 and easily beat up Cell, which results in his death. And the reason he's not using Grade 3 is because he learned during his training with Yamcha that it was a bad form to use. Vegeta never lets Cell absorb 18, since they never recruited Vegeta to train with them. And even if Vegeta was there, I don't know if he'd let Cell absorb 18 this time, considering he just lost to the androids before, and he hasn't really had any gains since then. So Vegeta letting Cell get even stronger when he can't even beat the androids would be kinda dumb. It'd be like if Frieza was beating him up on Namek and using his 4th form, and Vegeta was telling him, "You gotta use your full power." Like, it just doesn't make any sense. So, in a pretty anticlimactic way, future Trunks kills Cell. He would also attempt to kill androids 16 and 18, since 17 is now gone, but I think Krillin would vouch for them, as he could tell they weren't all bad. Of course, future Trunks has a hard time believing this, but I think Yamcha would trust Krillin, and would be able to convince his future son to oblige. He does, and then decides to return back to the future. And personally, I think this arc for future Trunks is kinda cool here, because he went back in time to kind of fix his own timeline, but then he learned that he actually created a new timeline instead of fixing it. So then he has to take it upon himself to go back and fix the mistake that he caused by creating that timeline, which is Cell. And here, he kills Cell. So I think it's a pretty fitting conclusion to his little arc. Not really important to the story, I just wanted to point that out because I thought it was cool. Once the gang fully recovers, Goku knows that he's got to go in the time chamber to catch up with Yamcha, but he's unsure of who to go in with. He wants Gohan to go in, but Gohan isn't really wanting to, as there's no longer any big threat. So I think after they recruit Dende as Earth's new guardian in place of Kami and wish everyone back that Cell killed, as well as Android 17, Goku would go looking for Vegeta. He'd be able to convince Vegeta to participate in the intense training, as I think he'd want to get more strength after the loss he just had to the androids. So if he's got to train for Kakarot a little while, so be it. It's only going to be a day. The two enter the time chamber and come out a day later, having unlocked grades 2, 3, and 4 of Super Saiyan. After that, Vegeta lets everyone know that he's the top dog once again, before leaving the lookout to train more. Piccolo sees this and decides to use the time chamber as well, so he doesn't fall too far behind from everyone else. And so, after that, the 7-year time skip begins. Bulma decides to pay for a home for Vegeta, so that he doesn't have to keep living at Capsule Corp. But sadly, Vegeta doesn't get with anyone, and instead just spends his days training. He also has frequent rematches with Goku, since he's more open to training with him now. Trunks and Gohan haven't really been training, so they're pretty weak. Bulma and Yamcha raised their daughter Bra, who was about 9 at this point. She would grow to be friends with Goten, the son of Goku and Chi-Chi. Bra doesn't really like fighting though, so she stays out of training. So by the end of the 7 years, Goku, Vegeta, Yamcha, and Goten all have Super Saiyan 2, so that's pretty good. Trunks and Erasa have taken a liking toward each other, so they'd become somewhat of a parallel to Gohan and Videl. The tournament comes around, and so do Babidi and his men. Shin and Kibito convince the gang to leave the tournament and help them take down Babidi, and that goes the same. Dabura kills Kibito pretty much the same way. I'd like for Dabura to also turn Yamcha into stone here, as I think it helps to set up Trunks' arc going forward. You'll see what I mean in a bit. So Goku and Vegeta defeat Yakon and Pui Pui, although Goku is somewhat weaker in this timeline. This leaves Gohan or Trunks to battle Dabura, which I would give to Trunks this time. He's keen to get his father freed from the stone, so he wants to take Dabura down himself. He engages in combat with him, only to be defeated with some ease by the Demon King. He's weaker than Gohan was in canon because he never used the time chamber, and also, neither did Gohan in this version. But yeah, Dabura blasts Trunks to the side after a brief battle. This makes Gohan angry, so he charges in to fight Dabura in Trunks' place. But once again, he didn't use the time chamber, so he's weaker than in canon and doesn't even have Super Saiyan 2, or any of the grades, he just has grade 1. Dabura beats him in a similar fashion. Babidi is unable to corrupt Vegeta's mind due to him having mellowed out throughout the 7 years. Goku decides to step in now that his son has been beaten, and easily beats Dabura using Super Saiyan. He finishes him off, but Babidi has now gathered enough energy to summon Majin Buu. It's a very close call, but it's just barely enough. Goku flies to Krillin and Yamcha, who are now freed from the stone, and gives them Gohan and Trunks' bodies. He tells them to get a Senzu Bean while he and the others deal with Babidi. And so Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, and Shin go to take on Majin Buu, who is just about to be born. They're able to easily kill Babidi and now have to fight Buu himself. Unfortunately, Buu is too much for any of them to handle, so they're all beaten to the ground. I don't think all of them are going to survive either, as Buu was hungry when he fought Deborah and Canon, but here, he never had that fight. So, with 4 strong people to choose from, he's definitely going to turn someone into a cookie. And personally, I think it should be Vegeta. So Buu turns Vegeta into a cookie and eats him. This terrifies Goku, Piccolo, and Shin, but Buu simply continues beating them until they're all near death. After that, he leaves without the control of Babidi this time, since he is dead. Yamcha, Krillin, Gohan, and Trunks arrive and give Senzu Beans to Goku, Shin, and Piccolo. They recover, and Goku explains everything that happened. With that, they decide to come up with a plan on what to do. They get everybody important and take them to the lookout like they do in canon. None of them can defeat Majin Buu right now, so their only option is to get stronger. And how do you do that really fast? The Time Chamber. Because of their embarrassing defeat at the hands of Deborah, Gohan and Trunks are more ready to train. And with Goku wanting the next generation to succeed him, he agrees to train them in the Time Chamber. Goten wants to train as well, but Goku says no, and that they have a limit to who can train all at once. Otherwise, they'll be held back and not be able to gain a lot of strength. So Goku, Gohan, Yamcha, and Trunks head into the Time Chamber. Both father-son duos are able to spar with each other and gain far more strength, with Gohan and Trunks catching up quickly due to their potential. Not to mention, Goku and Yamcha also getting far more powerful by the end of the day and exiting the Time Chamber. Once they feel as though they are strong enough, the 4 head off to fight Majin Buu together. Thankfully, Buu hasn't befriended Mr. Satan yet, so they don't have to worry about Super Buu. The 4 Saiyans use Super Saiyan 2 and attack Majin Buu, being able to do some decent work and damage to the blob. However, while their powers combined are able to rival Buu's own power, he's got too much regeneration and stamina for them to be able to win easily. So I think we'd probably see Goku making a Spirit Bomb while the others hold Buu off toward the end of the fight. Because Buu isn't as strong, they wouldn't need nearly as many people to give their energies. I think the people on the lookout, as well as Vegeta and Otherworld, and the people in the fight, would be enough to take Majin Buu out. So afterward, they bring back Kibito and Vegeta, and the gang pretty much lives peacefully for some time after killing Majin Buu. So now that we've ended the Buu arc, we can end this video here. In the next part, we'll start Dragon Ball Super, which has a ton of changes from the original story that will be interesting to talk about. In fact, this story is only halfway complete by now, so that should tell you what Super has to offer. So just make sure you're subscribed if you're interested to see what happens. But as always, tell me if you liked this part, tell me what you think will happen next, comment your requests for future videos, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.